I cannot stress to you the seriousness of this video. The glasses are off. We started the video with the glasses off. Okay? The bedspread has been changed. The blanket, top blanket, has been folded. It looks like shit, but it has been folded. Okay? I don't even know what's gonna happen. Alright? We have to mark down today's date. It has to become a national holiday or some shit. Okay? November the 3rd. So I wasn't home all day yesterday. Alright? Had to go do something with my car. Then I went to the next city beyond that. I went to play pool over in Newburgh, which is about an hour away. So about 8, 9 o'clock at night, my phone starts going off with comments and even people in the Discord. Isaiah Jackson, out for the season, torn Achilles. James Wiseman, first game of the season, torn Achilles. You know, they say lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. But that is a bunch of bullshit if you are a Pacers fan. So now the question has become, what do we do? Now, please stop. I don't know why, and I know why, but I don't get it. I hear everybody saying we need to trade for Buddy Hield, we need to trade for Trace Jackson Davis, all these other people, okay? Listen, we do not have the cap space, really, to be trying to facilitate a trade at this point in time. Good news for Miles Turner, though, is the idea he's the only fucking center on the roster. So now, if we do, for whatever reason, have to trade Miles Turner, we have to get a center back, which kind of limits our trade potential. And if we want anybody, I guess, good or really good, we're going to have to give up Miles Turner plus stuff. And I simply don't see that happening. All right, I think Andrew Nembhard has, I guess, tendonitis, which is not good. I'm at a point now where it's like, I like Andrew Nembhard, but if he has tendonitis, he's a guy we should probably think about moving on from if the rest of the league doesn't already know about it. There are some options out there, but there's not a lot. I see people saying, let's sign Dwight Howard. Let's do this. Let's do that. Honestly, this is what I think is going to happen. Okay, this is just my opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not even a good opinion, but this is my opinion. They're going to call up Enrique Freeman. And they're going to see, because really at the current point in time, we only have enough cap space to really sign someone to a vet minimum deal. Now, Bismack Biyombo is still out there as a free agent. Bismack Biyombo, I think, would even in some cases be ideal, just as a backup center. Dwight Howard is, I don't even know how good Dwight Howard really is anymore. But Bismack Biyombo is a guy that I know has been in the league recently, gave some meaningful minutes at some point. He's the guy that I would strongly consider the team going after. Jahlil Okafor was on the Mad Ants, but then they waived him, so I don't know if they're going to try to bring back Okafor. I don't know what the team's going to do. Now, I would like it if the Pacers would trade for somebody for a young, promising center. The Pistons have Isaiah Stewart, but I don't know if they're actually going to be willing to move off of Isaiah Stewart. The Hornets have Mark Williams and Nick Richards, who unfortunately both look very good at the moment. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure what direction the team's going to go in, but this is not good for the Pacers season. It's not. Now we have no backup center, and while Enrique Freeman is a very good rebounder, he's only like 6'7". So obviously the potential there is maybe a little bit limited, but from what we saw in preseason, I do believe that the Pacers are at the very least going to try Enrique Freeman as the backup center for a couple games, just to see how it goes, see if he can perform. And if it's really bad, like he's just kind of like a non-factor, which I doubt. He was like one of the leading rebounders in college basketball this past year. So, actually, I think he was the leading rebounder in college basketball this past year. So I think they're going to, at the very least, try it. And if it doesn't go the way that they anticipate, then I could expect them spending a vet minimum deal on somebody like Bismack Biyombo. They could try to play James Johnson. That's also another possibility. But I really don't know how good James Johnson is at this point in his career. Maybe 5-6 years ago, James Johnson was a solid name as a role player, but now he's more like a locker room guy or a player coach for better understanding. So I don't know what direction the team's going to go in, but this is not good. Isaiah Jackson is just a very solid role player for us. There's a reason we brought him back and everything. There's a reason we haven't gotten rid of him. I will say this. I think Andrew Nembhard is kind of a luxury item. And we're at a point now where we need a necessity. Personally, I would rather see Aaron Nesmith play the 2 and Jarris Walker play the 3. Our season has not been great to start. We're currently 2-4. But it's just the idea. Actually, I want to check this. Are we 2-4 or how did we do against, yeah, we're 2-4, so we're the 9th seed. But it's just the idea, I don't really know anybody off the top of my head that comes to mind for a trade. Steven Adams, I think, is still on the Houston Rockets. But he's another guy who's injury prone. But Steven Adams really wouldn't be a terrible replacement. The problem is I don't know what Houston's going to want for him. Houston, I mean, Steven Adams is there. But the question is, what is their asking price? I mean, if it really comes down to it, and we could get Steven Adams and Tari Eason for, I don't know, Andrew Nembhard and somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else is at the moment. But if we could pull that off and just get ourselves a Steven Adams plus a good wing player like Tari Eason, I would be ecstatic. Because we do need a good wing player, and Houston has too many of them. They have Cam Whitmore, they have Tari Eason, right? They have Jabari Smith Jr. Their roster is pretty stacked with forwards, and we need a good young forward. They could also, I think, use an Andrew Nembhard type of guy. So, I mean, obviously Andrew Nembhard is significantly better than a lot of the guys that I'm mentioning at the moment, but just the idea, sometimes you have to give up talent to add depth. That is a real thing. And honestly, man, in modern day NBA, role players matter a lot more than having 3 or 4 star players. We saw what KCP did for Denver and Bruce Brown. Once they left, Denver, I feel, has taken a bit of a step back. Even if they don't in the regular season, I think in the playoffs it will affect them. Right now, the Denver Nuggets are 3-3. OKC is 6-0. The Warriors are 5-1, and Phoenix is 5-1. The Lakers are actually the 4th seed at 4-2. This could all change, obviously. We're only 6 or 7 games into the season. But it's just the idea. Sometimes, man, giving up one solid player to get 2 good role players is sometimes the difference between a team just being a good team on paper and actually being a good team. Obviously, I don't really want to get rid of Aaron Nesmith. Aaron Nesmith is our best defender. I'm just trying to think of guys that we can maybe live without. Even Obi Toppin, as much as I would like to maybe trade Obi Toppin for somebody who's a better defender, I just don't. I feel like that would impact the bench unit too much. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just don't. I wish I had an answer for this, and I don't, unfortunately. I know it's really early in the season. This is a bit of an overreaction, but if Giannis Antetokounmpo demands a trade out of Milwaukee, the Pacers should consider trading Pascal Siakam and, a couple, 4 or 5 first-round picks for him if it becomes available. That is a trade that would work. Him and Giannis make about the same amount of money. The thing is, Giannis is a generational talent, and Pascal Siakam is not. And if a player like that does become available, because right now Milwaukee has the worst record in the East, if I'm correct. They're 1-5, and they're playing Cleveland again, so they're likely to maybe be 1-6 if I'm correct. Their next game, I think they have back-to-back games against Cleveland. They lost by 1 point, but if they lose to Cleveland again and they start off 1-6, drastic changes are going to have to come to this team. And we've already heard Giannis come out publicly and say that, if I'm not going to waste my prime on a bad team. So I don't know what's going to happen, but you could trade Pascal Siakam and a shit ton of first-round picks and possibly land yourself a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sure there will be better offers out there, but Pascal Siakam is one of the better power forwards in the league, and the only reason I bring this up is not because I dislike Pascal Siakam, it's because you very rarely get the opportunity to acquire a generational talent. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is definitely that, the most dominating player to play in the game since Shaquille O'Neal. Also, when you look back at the history of Indiana and Milwaukee doing trades with each other, it happens all the time. And I honestly, if you want my humbled, honest opinion, the Milwaukee Bucks are done. They're not winning another championship. The Damian Lillard trade did not work out for them in the way that they thought it would. Brook Lopez is aging. Chris Middleton's always injured. Their bench unit is not performing. Their head coaching situation's a fucking mess. So if Giannis demands a trade at some point this year, before the trade deadline, I think the Pacers should be all in on that, specifically because now we've lost Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman, and while Giannis does not play center, we also are the perfect fit for Giannis. I don't know if people understand that as well. Indiana's a fast break team, which Giannis excels in the fast break. Miles Turner's the closest thing to Brook Lopez that he's going to get. We have Tyrese Halliburton, who I would say is a better fit for Giannis than Damian Lillard is. That's just my opinion, especially with Tyrese being a more willing passer. So who knows? Obviously, this is kind of a pie-in-the-sky idea, and it's an overreaction. But Giannis is also a guy who goes out there and averages like a 30-point double-double and gets like 2 blocks and 2 steals a game for the most part. The guy is a monster. And that, I think doing a move like that even would make us a better team and give us a better chance to compete for a championship. But the problem is right now, at the current point in time, it looks like our season's kind of over unless Enrique Freeman just comes out and balls. Which is a very real possibility. However, I will say this also. I do not think the front office is going to call it quits on the season 6 games into the season. I do think they will try to pull off a move for somebody. It'll be a bullshit trade, maybe a second-round pick for a guy that's on a bench somewhere that nobody's using. That's a possibility as well. But for right now, yeah, this news sucks. I was really excited about James Wiseman, and then he had the torn Achilles, and the same thing happened to Isaiah Jackson now. Isaiah Jackson is now torn Achilles, and the only center we have on the roster at the moment is Miles Turner and Enrique Freeman, who I think is more of a point forward than he is actually a center. They're probably going to spend some time running Obi Toppin at center. Even Siakam might see minutes at center. You know what I'm saying? Which it gives us a small ball lineup, which isn't the end of the world. But we do need rebounding, and the idea that James Wiseman being, I think, the best rebounder on the team went down, and now Isaiah Jackson went down. Miles Turner's going to be asked to maybe play a different role. And I know you can't play Miles Turner 40 minutes a night for the next 70-plus games. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen. It sucks. It's terrible. I do think the team needs to shake up the roster a little bit now, though. Unfortunately, I do feel like somebody is maybe going to get traded that we don't want to see traded. I don't think it's going to be Ben Mathurin. I don't think it's going to be Jarris Walker. I have a feeling if anybody gets traded, it's going to be Andrew Nembhard and I don't know, maybe somebody else. I don't know who. I don't think it'll be Neesmith, but you never know. I'm pretty sure Kevin Pritchard's on the phone and has been on the phone the past couple days trying to facilitate some type of deal to get another center because we are now very, very scarce at that position. So, sucks to see. I hope the comeback is great for both of them, for Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman, depending on if they come back or not. Torn Achilles, oftentimes... excuse me. Oftentimes when guys come back from torn Achilles, they're not the same players. So... that's the only reason I'm very weary of this. But I do think there's going to be some roster shakeup. I definitely do. Whether it's a vet minimum signing or a trade for somebody. I don't even know really what potential trade targets look like. Maybe I'll make a video about that later today at some point if I don't end up going to do something with my cousin. But yeah, sucks. It feels like the season is over already, and it shouldn't. But this is a very, like, the James Wiseman thing was a big blow to our roster. Isaiah Jackson sustaining the same injury is an even bigger blow to our roster. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the future holds, but hopefully, I'm sure Chad Buchanan and Kevin Pritchard are working something up to maybe pull off a trade that they maybe otherwise wouldn't. The problem is also a lot of these guys that are on our roster signed contract extensions a little bit later in the summer, so a lot of them are not even eligible for trade until after till next offseason. Like TJ McConnell is one of them. I think Andrew Nemhard might be in the same boat, but even then, right, like even if we did trade these guys, they can't be traded until December 15th. So we have to find some type, either we have to trade somebody we really don't want to trade to fill that position, or we're going to use a vet minimum deal and try to acquire a center in free agency like Bismack Biyombo. I saw a couple other guys out there, Dwight Howard, Alex Len. I don't know if Alex Len even plays in the league anymore, but the Pacers need to do something. So I don't know what that move is. Maybe they trade a future first-round pick or a future second-round pick for somebody that, like Jalen Smith, like a guy that was just sitting on somebody's bench that maybe we can get some extra production out of. So I don't know. I know they have something up their sleeve. I just don't know what that something's going to be. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.